going on, guys? Welcome back. We are here. It is time for the week 1 predictions. It's a little late, I know. The last couple years, I usually got it out like a week or two before the season started. My bad, but I'm getting them out before the week starts. Want to thank everybody for coming by for another video, and if you're new here, feel free to stick around. I've got a ton of other NFL content on the channel, and I think that you'll enjoy it. But other than that, let's jump into it. Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, we are here. It's finally here, and I say finally lightly because the season kind of crept up on me. I've been getting after it on videos. But in the grand scheme of things, it's finally here. Football is back. It's exciting. The most wonderful time of the year, the NFL season. So we're just going to jump straight into it. First, on Thursday, tomorrow, because this is recorded on a Wednesday, we have the Ravens at the Chiefs. The Ravens just lost. Their last game that they played was against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. They lost. And Lamar Jackson is 1-3 against the Chiefs in his career, which I can only assume that means Patrick Mahomes is 3-1 against the Ravens in his career. But I think I am more confident in the defending Super Bowl champions to get the win at home to open up the season against the Ravens. Moving to Friday, we have the Packers and the Eagles. There is no home team. I think technically the Eagles are the home team because it is, not because, but this game is in Brazil, which is interesting on the NFL's part because you schedule them at a stadium where you're not allowed to wear green. So let's take 2 green teams and put them in there. That's pretty dumb, but let's just get into the predictions. Let's not focus on that too much. The Packers are coming off of a season where they overachieved. The Eagles are coming off of a season where they underachieved. They ended the season last year not great. And the Packers, while they did lose in the playoffs, they had a pretty good ending to their season. They won in the wild card. They lost a close game in the next round. But if we go off of the start of the season, the Eagles started off at like 10-0, 10-2, I think, last year. Then dropped 5 of their last 6 games, ended up 11-6. So yeah, started off 10-2. There's suspicion that Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts don't have a great relationship and that it might affect the performance of the Eagles. I'm not really buying into that much. I would like the Packers to win this game. The Eagles are favored by 2.5 points, but I do think that the Eagles, if their secondary can perform and stop this group of Packers wide receivers, they can win this game. That's a big if. They have some additional players, like I mentioned in my record predictions video, but I am going to go with the Eagles in this one. I just feel more confident in them to start off the season hot, so I'm going with the Eagles. Next up, I'm just going in the order of my graphic. We have the Panthers at the Saints. This one isn't too hard for me. You can call me biased, that's fine, but overall the Saints are a better team than the Panthers. They have some fractional pass rush ability. They have a good room of linebackers and a new OC. The Panthers also have a new OC because they have a whole new coaching staff, but they do have some new O-linemen. They've got some new pieces all over defense. But overall, I still think that the Saints should get the win against a still rebuilding team at home. Then we have the least interesting game of week 1, and that is the Giants and the Vikings. The Vikings are going into New York or New Jersey, whatever you want to, if you really care about that, with with Sam Darnold at quarterback. It's Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones. I'm not expecting a lot of points. I'm not expecting a lot of action. I'm expecting a lot of punts. And I'm expecting to not watch this game. With that said, I am going to go, again, with the home team. I think that the Giants do have a better defense. They've got pass rushers. Maybe they'll have Sam Darnold seeing ghosts out there. But I'm not going to put my faith necessarily in either quarterback. But if I had to choose one, it would be the quarterback that's been to the playoffs. It would be the quarterback that has had a winning record as a starter. It would not be the quarterback who is on his Panthers, Jets, 49ers, Vikings, fourth team. And he wasn't even the starter coming into the season. So I'm not going to get behind Sam Darnold. I cannot do it. So I'm picking the Giants. Granted that this is all going off of preseason because eventually I'm going to have to go with Sam Darnold in some of these games. But we're going to move on to the next one. We have the Patriots and the Bengals. This is a game that I don't find too interesting either. I say that the most interesting part about this game is whether or not Jamar Chase is going to play. And do I think that's going to affect the outcome? No, because they still have solid pieces at receiver. And the Patriots are starting Jacoby Brissett, a journeyman QB, a Joe Burrow-led squad. The only problem is that the Bengals typically start off the season like a Pop Warner team. I've mentioned this before. I don't know why they do it, but they do. Let's just hope that Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt. Let's hope that they don't play like shit. And let's hope that the Bengals are going to start off at 1-0 because I am confident enough to take them as my lock of the week because looking at the rest of the slate, I don't think there's very many other games that I'm as confident as I am in the Bengals. So Bengals going to beat the Patriots, and they're going to be my lock of the week. Next, we have the Steelers at the Falcons. This one I do find interesting, and I kind of went back and forth on this. If we look at the Falcons, like I said, new pass rush should be able to make Russ, uncomfortable. They have pieces in the secondary, going to make it harder and more difficult for him to throw. All new coaching staff, new quarterback, pieces on O-line. The Falcons are going to be a good team. And this is exactly the kind of game that you don't expect the Steelers to win or even be competitive in. And I guarantee you that they will. So much so that even though their offense is still a question mark because we don't know how they're going to do under Arthur Smith. Speaking of Arthur Smith revenge game. If you believe in revenge games, you know that's huge. If you're a betting man, you know that's huge. So I expect Mike Tomlin to open up the season starting strong. He typically does, not last year against the 49ers, but the Falcons are not the 49ers. A few seasons ago, everybody thought, including me, that the Bills were going to just steamroll the Steelers. Steelers go into Buffalo, I believe, and win. So this has all the signs of pick the Falcons. And if I wasn't a Saints fan, I probably would. But something is telling me that the Steelers are going to win this game for no reason. So with that, I am picking the Steelers. But I'm not confident in them enough to make them the upset of the week. So you will see that later on. But right now, I am taking the Steelers. Next, we have the Texans and the Colts. Texans are going into Indianapolis. CJ Stroud versus Anthony Richardson. Let's hope Anthony Richardson can, not get banged up or anything. But overall, if the Colts offensive line continues to struggle as they did last year, not sure how it performed in the end of the year, but I do recall them not having much protection for their quarterback. The Texans just added Danielle Hunter. They have Will Anderson. They've got good linebackers. They've got a couple guys in the secondary. They've got an electric offense. So, they're not playing the Steelers, like how I just described them, almost exactly the same as the Falcons. I'm going to go with, I think, the better coached team. I think the better roster, better offense, and pass rush against a bad offensive line. So I'm going to take the Texans. Then next up, we have the Cardinals at the Bills. I don't see any real reason that the Cardinals should be too competitive in this one, except for the potential rookie impact on both sides. Is Keon Coleman going to produce in his first game? Is Marvin Harrison Jr. going to produce in his first game? The Bills lost some guys in the secondary, so that leaves Marvin Harrison more room to compete, and they've also got Trey McBride out there. So two scary passing options for the Cardinals, but you also have a rookie tight end and a rookie wide receiver and a young tight end duo in Buffalo too. I'm still going to go with the Bills in this one. They still have a better roster. They still have Josh Allen, who I'm taking over Kyler Murray. I think everybody on earth can agree with that, even the most delusional Cardinals fan. So I'm going to go with the Bills. And this is a game that I would like to watch if I'm not watching the Saints game. I'm not sure what time it's on. I didn't check the times or list them on here, but we have the Titans at the Bears. Caleb Williams' first regular season game against the Titans, who I mentioned I want to be really high on. I do. They have guys on defense. They have a great pass rush. They have a good run game, or a good run defense. And then they had a questionable secondary, but they added some pieces there. But on the opposite side, the Bears have 3 great wide receivers. Potentially. We know that DJ Moore is great. We've seen Keenan Allen, when healthy, is one of the best route runners in the league. And then Rome Odunze. So those are 3 weapons. You add in Cole Kmet, you add in DeAndre Swift. This is a dangerous team, but this is also Caleb Williams' first game. How well is he going to do in his first actual regular season game, first game at home? There's a lot of pressure. How's he going to handle the pressure, in literally and figuratively, because they've also got to deal with Harold Landry and the Titans pass rush. So I am actually going to go with the Titans in this one, because I'm not so sure how the Bears are going to do. We will see. It remains to be seen. I could invest all my hype into this rookie quarterback, but I'm not. I don't know if it's playing it safe because the Bears are the favorite in this one, but I am going to go with the Titans. Next, we have the Jaguars and the Dolphins. I'm going to keep this one quick. It's the beginning of the season. The Dolphins always start off the season hot and then kind of bog out later into the year. The Jaguars, inconsistent, question marks everywhere, no true wide receiver one. I'm going to go with the Dolphins. And then we have the Broncos and the Seahawks. This one, I can only think back to Geno Smith. They wrote me off, but I didn't write back. That whole thing, Russ's first game back against the Seahawks after he got traded, and they lost, and it's left a sour taste in my mouth. It has. Now they've got Bo Nix, and they still have Geno Smith. And I mentioned I don't know how to evaluate the Seahawks. I'm almost in the same boat with the Broncos. They're a rebuilding team, and the Seahawks are a team that are on the decline right now and trying to fight against a rebuild. However, I do think overall they have a better roster. They do. But they do have a new coach, and they are going up against Sean Payton. In my mind, whenever I think of Sean Payton in early season games, we had a lot of 0-2 starts. When he was with the Saints, he kind of fixed that towards the end of his tenure. But I was kind of at a coin flip on this, going back and forth, not really sure. But then I saw that the Seahawks are wearing their throwback uniforms. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to pick the Seahawks. Overall better roster. It's not just because of the uniforms, but man, I do love those uniforms. I want Bo Nix to succeed, of course. You know this. I don't know how well the Broncos offense is going to do. And it's another thing similar to the Bears. I need to see some film. I need to give me something to work off of. I have that with the Seahawks, so I'm going to go with Seattle. And next we have the Raiders at the Chargers. 2 new coaches. Last time they matched up, Antonio Pierce was the coach of the Raiders, and they dropped 63 on him, I believe. Now they have Jim Harbaugh, and that should not happen under his regime. They have the better quarterback. They are kind of split on running back. I'm high on Zamir White. I like him. I took him in a lot of fantasy leagues. There's weapons there. Is the Chargers' defensive production from last year solely on Brandon Staley? Most of it, yeah. But are there players there that really aren't great? Is Devontae Adams going to torch them? Most likely. Is Trey Tucker going to get open down the field? Possibly. I do like the Raiders a lot this year. Quarterback is the only issue. If their O-line can hold up against the Chargers pass rush, which was about their real only bright spot on defense last year, I think they should do all right. I'm confident enough in the Raiders to get this win. Though it is in LA, it is a home game for the Chargers. First home game under Jim Harbaugh. But again, I am going to do this for a lot of games. I'm going to mention it for a lot of games to start the season. Show me something. Show me something under Jim Harbaugh to go off of. Because I know Justin Herbert is a fantastic quarterback. I know that he's better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league. And he's damn sure better than Gardner Minshew. And they've got guys there. The absence of Keenan Allen is, could be big. Their number one is Josh Palmer. I doubt that Quentin Johnston is really going to get that much time in the game. But I'm high on the Raiders. Their Antonio Pierce lit a fire under their ass last year. And I think it should carry over into week 1. But I do know or think, I've seen some reports, Devontae Adams isn't quite happy with his situation because of the quarterback situation. And Aaron Rodgers is in his ear trying to get him out of there. So I don't think that makes him any less of a professional. And I think he's still going to go out there, produce for the Raiders. And I think that the Raiders are going to get the win. And they're going to be my upset of the week. And Lewis, I know that you were telling me to get this video out. Chop chop, YouTube boy. But I'm sorry that you were excited to watch it and saw this. But I'm picking the Raiders. Upset of the week. Then we have the Cowboys at the Browns. The Browns still have a good defense. They still have a great coach. While they don't have Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford was not bad by any means last year, but they do have Deshaun Watson. But on the other side, the Cowboys have a questionable defense, and their run game against a great defense is not a good look going into this. I think that the Browns are not necessarily going to embarrass, but I do think that they're going to be pretty comfortable in this game, and I do have the Browns winning. Then we have the Commanders at the Buccaneers. Rookie quarterback, new coach, defensive-minded head coach, which is great for the Commanders because worst defense in the league last year, but the Buccaneers are still in a way better situation than the Commanders are. The Buccaneers were a playoff team last year by winning the worst division in the league, yes, but Jaden Daniels, Show me something. I think I did not pick a single rookie quarterback, and I'm fine with that because I want to see something. I want to see them produce before I can invest any hope into them. I know that these guys are all animals. They were picked this high for a reason. They're starting for a reason or sitting back a few games like Drake May for a reason. These guys should be good. But I need to see it first. I need to see it to believe it. So I am going to go with the Buccaneers pretty comfortably. All right, moving on to Sunday Night Football. We have the Rams at the Lions. This is a really fun Sunday Night Football game. I'm glad that they scheduled it. I'm glad that this is their first Sunday night game. It could have been the Ravens and the Chiefs, but I like this one because it's two high-powered offenses head-to-head on teams that both have some lacking defense. Another Jared Goff versus the Rams. It was more interesting in the playoffs because it was kind of a legacy and revenge game. Then we have Dan Campbell versus Sean McVay. Two great coaches. I'd still say that Sean McVay is the better coach overall. He schemes a great offense. He makes players. He made their 5th round running back a superstar. But I'm still high on the Lions. They have a better season outlook. People are expecting them in the playoffs. People are expecting them to potentially be in the Super Bowl. Everybody's rooting for them to make the Super Bowl, unless you're, I guess, a fan of a contending team in the NFC. But it's kind of hard. This is kind of a coin flip. These are two good teams to start off the season. There might be some rust. There might be some jitters. But after the Lions opened up the season last year and beat the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, I'm kind of stuck on that a little bit too. And since I'm stuck in the middle between these two, I'm going to use that and I'm going to pick the Lions. And to close it out, we have Monday Night Football, the Jets at the Niners. Leonard Floyd was the defensive end that was coming in for Buffalo that led Aaron Rodgers to tear his Achilles last year. Leonard Floyd is a defensive end for the 49ers on the opposite side of Nick Bosa, and they are playing the Jets in week 1. History, I mean, God forbid it rewrites itself, but that is, you think that is potentially in the back of the mind of Aaron Rodgers? I don't think so. He's probably only scared of like the shadow man, but overall, I still think that the 49ers are going to win this game. I don't think it's really going to be that close. They have a better offense that we've seen produce consistently. Last year, the Jets were dependent on one position, and that's quarterback. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be that productive, and is he going to be that productive against a stout 49ers defense? I'm not too sure. He's no young buck. He is coming off of a season-long injury. So I'm going to go with the 49ers. So those were my week 1 predictions. Season's finally here. This is going to be fun. I'm super excited. I am going to be on my couch all day on Sunday. I was going to go to the Steelers game, but unfortunately, I am a student as well. So, can't go to that. I'll definitely be watching. There's a few games I'm not going to watch, and I'm just going to have to go back on YouTube and try and find as much film as I can. But games I'll definitely be watching after the Saints game, unless they piss me off and I can't stand watching their offense again. I'm obviously going to watch Thursday and Friday. Got the Saints. I'll probably watch the Raiders. My dad's a Raiders fan. I'm always watching those games. Sunday Night Football is going to be electric. Try and tune in for Caleb Williams' first game. But those are my most exciting games. I know for fucking sure I'm not going to be watching that Vikings game. I might not even... No, I kind of have to watch the highlights. But if there are any highlights, I'll try and watch them. But those are my week 1 predictions. Let me know your predictions down in the comments below. How do you think these teams are going to do? Are you excited for week 1? I bet you are. Because if you're watching this video, I don't know why you wouldn't be. But that's it for this. I'm basically caught up. I might try and get some award predictions out. Might be a little late. But I might try and get it out. Or I'll just make like a couple posts about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. So until the next video, see you later.